The last, I know it's the last one, we have to go home after this on a Wednesday afternoon. Thank you very much for turning up. This is always a great session. This is the best social media project of 2017. This is where we have 5 presentations from people around the world. They've put together really good original projects this year, and they're going to present 5 minutes each, and we're going to have a panel of 4 ask them questions after each presentation. And at the end of the day, they'll retire to the green room and rate their presentations they've heard. And then I'm going to ask you lot to vote as well. Slido on here, SLIDO, event WTM LDN. You will see the 5 options at the end of the presentations, and I want you to vote for your favorite. And the results will be shown live on the screen. Your vote will then be added to the judges, and we'll have an overall winner with a bottle of champagne and a huge award, and much kudos when they go home to their countries. So, I am delighted to announce the awesome project, which is, I forgot what it stands for now, Awfully Entertaining Social Media of 2017. Awesome. A very good acronym. And first up, I'm going to invite Elizabeth Hakim, who is from Peru, a country I spent a year in once, and it's a fantastic place. And she's going to be talking about the Suitcases of Peru project. Please give Elizabeth a hand on the stage. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Can you hear me? So, I was supposed to come here with 3 people from my office. One of them was supposed to deliver this presentation because that's nothing related to what I do, but none of them turned out. So, I'm here, and I brought my little friend to support me. Okay, so we start the presentation. And that's about suitcases. So, the background is, we were launching this campaign, Land of Hidden Treasures, but we needed to go beyond a regular media plan. So we were thinking, what should we do? What do we do when we don't have so much funds for, to do something more, and we need to raise the awareness? So we came with this idea, of using a place where you will always be relating to travel. So with this, we wanted to, raise awareness of Peru as a tourist destination in our target markets and increase the number of followers in our media channels. Our target groups were people in the main markets, main international markets, and those are the ones, especially the US, Canada, Germany, European, UK, and also Korea. The proposal was to, promote this campaign in places where people will be traveling. So we thought, where can we do this? That we don't need a large budget. Where is people thinking of traveling or actually involved in travel? And the idea came to use the airports. Now, airports are not cheap, so how do we do it? And this is when we came to have our message, take it on a suitcase. So we created a collection of suitcases that will invite everyone that would see this to visit Peru. And this is...
At Minsatur and Prom Peru, we work hard to make sure the whole world is aware of all that our country has to offer. Peru has been the star of the show in cities such as New York, Los Angeles, Paris, Barcelona, and Milan, and even at the world's most important soccer tournaments. Airports are one of the most expensive places to buy advertising space, and every country around wants to be there, showing off its tourist attractions. Using our Peruvian ingenuity, we were able to put our wonders on display in some prime airport locations. And the best part is that it was completely free. Introducing Suitcases of Peru. A collection of suitcases displaying Peru's wonders and inviting everyone to visit. Exhibited where the whole world is paying close attention, the baggage carousel. How did we do it? Each of these Suitcases of Peru was given to some of the country's most frequent flyers. We took hundreds of airport spaces that would have cost the country millions in advertising expenses and turned them into a space to publicize Peru completely free of cost. Suitcases of Peru, a new way of bringing our wonders to the world.
So we use mainly Facebook, we use YouTube, we use Twitter, and we got, I mean, those are the amounts, you know, the number of, well, those are the investment, but we got in Facebook in 3 days almost 5.5 million people we reach. We got in YouTube 260,000 views, and in Twitter we got nearly 800,000 impressions. So I think if you ask me what are the you know, best lessons, is we use this campaign through people. We cross the channels, just going out of the social media to go into a physical aspect as an airport, and we use influencers. So by using those three elements, in 3 days we were able to get this amount of you know, reach, which otherwise would have been impossible if we would be using, you know, traditional media. And I think that's the best lesson we got.
Very much.
Thank
Elizabeth.
you.
Some good figures there, less than $20,000 spent, and Facebook returns, social media returns, in line with, Elizabeth, can you stay up here and get some questions from the judges? And a return on social media awareness in huge numbers. Now, Benji, what would you like to?
First of all, Elizabeth, well done, and thank you for standing, and at such short notice, I think deserves a special round of applause.
Thank you.
It's a fantastic campaign. I'm obsessed with images. My company, Picfair, we help travel companies access images from a new generation of photographers across the globe, Instagrammers, authentic images, because images are so important these days. This was obviously a very image-led campaign. How did you choose the images that went onto the suitcases?
Oh, we choose our attractions, and you can see that there definitely you will find Machu Picchu. So we choose those images that people can relate to Peru, and you know, mainly it's Machu Picchu and others that we want to promote.
Kath, what would you like to ask?
Hi, yes, I wanted to ask you how you measured engagement of the campaign and what type of traveller were you targeting?
Okay, we generally we go into young people. I mean, one of the two, like I would say, extremes. So it's young people, millennials, who have the most probability to travel, and the other is active seniors, because you know, Peru. What happens is it's a large, it's a large country, but with a very rich product. So you need time, and either young people or other, you know, active seniors who don't have a job. You know, like they have very short period of vacations. So we go to those two segments, basically, that we know will have time and can spend time and really get to know the destination. So it was geared to those two mainly.
Thank you.
Okay. Cash?
That was fabulous. It was such a simple idea, just getting a bunch of people carrying suitcases with images of the destination. So congratulations on a very smart but very simple campaign idea. I was interested in seeing the tools you were using, Facebook and Twitter. I wanted to ask you why you used those, and given the visual nature of the campaign, would you have considered, why didn't you use Instagram, for example?
Yeah, we use those because those are the ones that are giving us more results. So, we decided to concentrate rather than use, wide variety that we couldn't handle maybe, or we wouldn't get good results. So we decided to use those 3 that gives us, good results and do nothing else.
Thank you.
Jen.
Yes, really interesting idea. You can imagine standing on the carousel and you're waiting and there's nothing else to do and something comes by that you can read and look at, and it's interesting and beautiful. I was wondering, how did people interact with these messages on the suitcase? Was there a call to action or a kind of follow us on Twitter or here's our Facebook address or anything like that, since one of your goals was to get more followers?
The main action was to go into our website and, to get engaged with what we offer. I mean, that was just, like the beginning, but everything will go to our website where we will, be very active in seeing the traffic and doing any changes that would be needed and being able to really look into the content. But it was all, we don't sell because we're the tourism board. But our main goal is to get people interested, aware, and give them all the content that they need to make their decision to come to Peru.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
It's about brand awareness, and from a moderator's awareness point of view, I apologise for not introducing the judges. So let me rectify that immediately. On my far right is Jen House, who I used to work with at Times Online, who is the co-founder of Brit Mums, a collective of parent bloggers in the UK, which is the preeminent group of bloggers in that area existing today. Jen, thank you. Cash, I've also known, as long as I've known Jen really, a good 8-9 years, one of the original bloggers I ever came across. He's the budget traveller, well known to all sorts of people here, or if you don't know him, you should do, so introduce yourself afterwards. Cash, thanks again for agreeing to be part of the panel. Kath Ludlow is managing director of 4Engage, which is an agency that works with brands, destinations across the world in travel and tourism and elsewhere to analyse the data that pertains to you and give you the best insights of how to promote yourself in future. And Benji Lanyardo, when I was at the Times, he was at The Guardian. He was my sort of man I looked to see what they were doing over there, and he's really bloody good. He's better than me. He left that to set up PicFair, which, as he's told you, is a photographic marketplace where 80% of the money charged for the picture goes to the photographer as opposed to 20 or 15%. It's a really very good, solid site that you need to explore for original images. How many million images?
5 million, and it's especially strong in travel. Our coverage is pretty broad.
It's the strongest subject. And 18,000 photographers, I think.
30,000.
30,000. It's gone up overnight. Who upload their own pictures and set their own price. It's a really good distribution network. Now, moving on quickly, we have our second project up. I'm going to invite Klaus to the stage. He is the newly arrived director of the Austrian National Tourist Office in London. And Klaus, I'd like you to present A Year in Austria. Thank you.
Yes, hello. I'm going to present a project that my colleagues Tanya and Martina initiated. They had been collaborating with social influencers for a long time, successfully, but I think at a certain stage they realized that however creative, however emotional, however engaging the content was that derived from these collaborations, that still there was, it was only the surface of what Austria has to offer that was scratched. So there was a desire to tell a bit more, to dig a bit deeper, and we were very lucky to find Becky as a person who would do that. I'm sure some of you know her, and she was the perfect match for 2 reasons. The one reason is because the way she portrays destinations by adding a new perspective and by challenging the stereotypes was exactly what we needed, because we wanted to show that Austria has more to offer than the stereotypes of sound of music and skiing. And secondly, Becky had decided to move to Vienna, so it was the perfect match, but let's hear her.
Hi everyone, it's Becky from Borders of Adventure here. For those of you who are not quite sure why I've popped onto this Facebook Live, I'm a travel writer, blogger, who is on a mission to uncover Austria over the next year and show you the various regions, the culinary customs, the activities, culture, everything.
It was a perfect introduction to the crisp but beautiful cold temperatures here from the Austrian mountains. I'm Becky. As you may have seen from the announcement yesterday, this is my Year in Austria project. This is the start of it. I've actually been calling Vienna home for the past 10 months. As part of the campaign, it's going to be everything from high-paced adventure, calm and disconnect, all the food, lots of cultural insights, everything else in between. Now, as much as this is about me seeing the entire country as much as I can across all 9 states, this is also about you guys getting involved. So what I want to do is really involve you to the point where you tell me what you want to see, and when I announce where I'm going, if you've already been to that place, by all means give me your tips, and also set me some challenges, because I like a good challenge.
I will comment on Facebook Live a bit later. I'll show you another one in a different format.
I'm finally here with Martina from Salzburg Tourism, who has all the facts and is actually going to be guiding me around the city while I'm showing you. Always a sound of music.
Always a sound
film
of music.
set. Yes.
This is. I actually was in the catacombs on Sunday, and you're all the way up there where you see the windows.
Yeah. Oh, this one here. Yeah. Now this is rather interesting.
We have what they call the Walk of Modern Art, which was an art project, and for about 10 years, famous international artists were asked to provide us with a sculpture or something and put on a public place. And this
The way we understand it, this project is the first of its kind as a collaboration between a DMO and a social influencer in terms of duration and comprehensiveness. The scale was to cover various destinations in all of 9 Austrian provinces, in all of the 4 seasons, and as said before, to challenge the stereotypes, to uncover the unknown. And Becky herself, she challenged herself physically by learning to ski, by learning to mountain climb, by participating in a grape harvest and so on. And I think it's important to know that this is not a singular campaign. Year in Austria was part of all our campaigns that we have been running in the last year. So it was always the window to see what Becky is doing and a source of additional content. And in total, we generated 1,200 pieces of content altogether during 13 trips. You saw Facebook Live. In the original concept, Facebook Live wasn't planned, but the beauty of a project that takes a whole year is that whatever comes out there, you can integrate it, and Facebook Live was so big when we started it, so we integrated it, and the beauty again is that when you have 1 year time that you can evolve, that there's room for improvement. And you saw we changed the format from Becky alone to having Becky with a second talking head, because that proved to be more popular in landscape format, and she invested in gear and everything. In total, it's a bit more than 5 million reach, but that's purely or close to purely organic, owned and earned media. We didn't spend much of a budget in paid, and the most important thing is this is still ongoing. So Becky is still traveling, and I would like to invite you to be part of this as an audience. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cash. You want me to go? I'm slightly biased because I know Becky, and I've actually been following the campaign with great interest. And obviously, as a blogger myself, it's great to see a destination invest and bring a blogger and allow them to experience the country truly, not just for a few days, but for a whole year. So congratulations on making that, and the results are fantastic. What I was curious to hear about when you were making those closing remarks was you said that you'd put a little bit of budget towards promoting the content, given the declining reach of Facebook. Is that something you're going to be dedicating more budget towards, because it will help you expand the reach of the content to a much more wide audience?
We had a very clear idea about spending budget to spread and to seed. We spent the incredible amount of £300. That's the budget we spent on paid. So that was just a trial, but basically we had the idea and we had the aim to focus on earned and owned.
Kath?
I just wanted to ask about the targeting that you did use for your budget. How did you ensure that the fantastic content that you're creating is reaching the right audiences with the spending power to choose Austria as their next destination?
Well, we have a very clear idea about our target group overall. So we focus on empty nesters, on things, ABC1. Hence, Becky also was a good match because it's not a family-oriented campaign. And I wanted to say another thing, but it slipped my mind now.
Come back on that one later.
Yeah,
Jen.
sure.
Yeah, really interesting. I know Becky too, so it looks like fantastic content. The things that she was producing, how were you kind of capturing and amplifying the user-generated content, people interacting with her, and also are you using her content elsewhere beyond basically her blog? I mean, is she doing this on the Austrian website or on her own website? I'm just interested kind of where you're pushing it out.
We're doing it on both, so we'll have Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Becky's accounts and our own accounts. Another thing that was very beneficial is that in addition to the content that Becky generated for social media, for her own blogs, for the videos, for the Facebook Live, she also actually created content that we would use on our own website. And I just remember what I wanted to say before in terms of you ask what we did, how we invested this very little budget. We did, for example, retarget. So we would retarget people that already fully watched Becky's videos before, and spread it out to them.
Just quickly, who found who with you and Becky? Did you approach her? Did she approach you? Was there an agent in the middle? How did that relationship?
Well, we had been in contact with Becky before. As I mentioned before, my colleagues Martina and Tanya, they had been very active in this field, and they worked with Becky before. And when she told us that she would move to Vienna, and she still lives there, we thought that's the perfect opportunity. I think it's important to mention that Becky is not an expat blogger. She doesn't write about her life in Vienna, but she still is a travel blogger. She's still traveling. She went to Mexico, to South Africa, so she still includes all this content. And I think her challenge is to have the right mix of what she does for Austria and other destinations.
Okay, and can I ask the crude question? How much? I presume you're a public body, so the figures will be in the accounts at some point.
I think it can be considered a low-budget project for a simple reason, because we, as I said, we spent £300 to spread it a bit. What we invest is basically what we invest in Becky. So we have a daily rate agreement with her. I think a friendly rate, since it's a long-term relationship. Everything else, I think it's very beneficial. She lives in Vienna, so travel costs are less. All the travel costs and accommodation, everything involved for her trips is covered by the local tourism board. So that's about it.
So it's effectively, very briefly, an artist in residence, her own residence. She's paying her own way to live there. You're paying her a day rate to work for you.
Exactly.
Okay, that's fair enough. Thank you very much. Fast. Okay, next up we have, I tried to pronounce his Christian name, but I'm going to get it wrong, Dalif of Iceland, and he's going to be telling you about a very interesting sounding title, The Hardest Karaoke Song Project. Thank you.
Thank you. So at first my name is Davi. Somebody pronounces it Daddy. So I've never heard Davi. It's nice. It's a nice twist to it. Yeah, it's good. So so good to be here. So I'm here to introduce the newest addition to the Inspired by Iceland campaign, which is called the A to Ö of Iceland, where we're using the Icelandic language and the Icelandic alphabet to kind of construct and showcase what Iceland has to offer, all of the great things you can experience. We have two main objectives for this campaign. How can we inspire tourists to travel further to each region? How can we teach them about all of the regions, create awareness that there are so many things you can explore around the country? And the second objective is how can we also educate our visitors to be more kind of a considerate travelers? Because usually it's often the things that they just don't know, not aware of, that could harm the nature and so on. So how can we reach these two objectives with our campaign? And, you know, holidays are supposed to be fun. Nobody wants you to be lectured to. So how can we get this approach to educate in a fun way? So we had to behave like our favorite teachers. You all know that teacher that made the class fun, inspiring. It didn't feel like hard work or boring. It doesn't matter how informative you are. If you aren't fun, nobody's willing to pay you any attention or engage with you. So how can we do that? How can we manage that? So we thought, okay, we are playing with the Icelandic language. The Icelandic language is one of the hardest languages to pronounce, and there aren't that many people that talk Icelandic. So we thought, how can we use that? So we decided to do the crazy idea to do the hardest karaoke song in the world. And we challenged the world to sing it. So I only have 5 minutes to talk, so I'm just going to show you a part of the video.
My day with coffee, or coffee's what we say. I pour a little milk in and feed my horse on hay. I look out the window to see if there is soul. I eat my morgunmatur and sit down in my stól. This hay is kind of awesome, no matter what you see. There's credit list and jöklar and vinir you can meet. Skål! So pack your töskur, Iceland has it all. Austur to vestur, just don't look for else. This is the A to Ö of Iceland, so try to sing along. This is the A to Ö of Iceland.
So that was just a part of the video. It gets much weirder as it goes on. But it's fun. You know, and he sings about the regions, and he sings about things like responsible behavior, like you shouldn't walk on the Icelandic moss because it takes a long time to grow back and those kind. But it's in a fun way, it's in an inviting way. It's not something restrictive or saying you shouldn't or whatever. It's just, it's kind of a dialogue. So, and you can watch the rest of the video on our website, inspiredbyiceland.com. But we saw a huge response to this approach. Every travel media we connected to covered the song, the campaign, and had their own little twist to it. Just in the first week, we saw over 420 articles in global media, which was amazing. But what was more amazing is seeing kind of the audience in social media. The world basically joined in. And the first day, we saw over 1 million organic views on the video. That was before we even spent $1 in paid advertising to boost it up. We saw 13,000 social responses to the campaign, and everybody was really positive and sharing it. And we saw also the Icelandic people wanting to share it as well with the world. I just going over the responses, I just picked out kind of one of my favorite, at least. And it's just a great thing, kind of you do this campaign and then see these people out in the world doing kind of their own twist to the song, bringing their guitar and doing kind of, and just be brave enough to stand up and say, hi, I'm going to do my own version of it.
The hardest karaoke song in the world. This is the A to E of Iceland. What could possibly go wrong? You're cool, good. Iceland has it all. Austria to better, to still look for help. Go for help. You can rent a Billy Boily Billy. Enjoy the drive on Ringveren.
That's not accurate.
Thousands of Peru.
As the sheep have been around,
Being their ungracious
every man's best friend.
And they've always had this.
This is the end.
Of Iceland, so try to sing along.
This is the A-O of Iceland.
What will possibly go wrong?
So in the end, we had a karaoke booth in middle of town of our capital and invited visitors to sing, which was really funny. A lot of them not singing that well, but hey, they tried, and I commend them for that. Actually, it was so popular that people were asking, where can I get this tune? I need this for my road trip in Iceland. So you can actually get it on Spotify, and it gets over 1,000 plays a week, which is amazing. We did not expect that. People are even saying, in Iceland, this should be our next Eurovision song. I don't know if that's something we should do. Not our business. Okay. But, am I
way
out of
over.
time?
7 minutes already. I'm going to have to cut you off there. I would obviously expect you to download this song and come back with it and see the rest of the video. It looks hugely entertaining. I just have to cut you off to be fair to all the other contestants.
Yeah. Just the 14 against 1 ROI in earned media value.
Pretty good. Thank you very much, Dad.
Thank you.
I think what we're already seeing is creativity and no budget, and I think that's not a bad balance to have. Questions, please. Who would like to go first?
Yeah, that one. So ROI, is that based on inquiries or is that based on active bookings?
This is earned media value. So that's the money we spent compared to kind of the coverage we got and the reach we got as well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So with you mentioned there were 420 media articles that you generated. Did you have a PR campaign alongside the social media campaign?
Yeah.
And if you had to compare the costs, how much money went into the production of the video versus the PR campaign?
I think it would be a more cost side on the production, maybe 2 against 1.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. Could you give us a ballpark idea of how much the video cost to make?
Well, the campaign, this karaoke, and all of the A2R curriculum we do as well, it's around $900,000, I would say. Yeah.
Okay, great. Jen?
Yes, I've got a two-part question. First is, who wrote the song?
So we have this band called Stop Wait Go. The funny thing is, we just decided this idea, like we thought, we need something to the campaign 3 months ago. And we thought, what can we do that's crazy? And we decided to do this, and we didn't even know who's going to play the song, who we're going to do the song, but we're really happy with the result. But the artist is called Stop Wait Go. And
Second part, do you have plans to kind of extend this particular, extend the campaign a little or do more around it?
Yeah, well, the core of it is the A to E. We have this curriculum where you can go to our webpage and learn from A to E. It's kind of this guide, A to C guide, but we have the E because it's an Icelandic letter in the end, in the alphabet, where you can learn about it. So we do these different things to build on that. So karaoke idea is actually a build onto that to create awareness about it. So if you're curious about what we're doing, then hopefully you would maybe visit our webpage or interact with us on social media.
Sure. Josh?
What could possibly go wrong? That's a crazy idea. Using a karaoke song. I thought Japan would do it, but not Iceland. How did you come up with the idea of a karaoke song? It's not something I think destination marketing boards sit every day and think, let's do a karaoke song to promote.
Let's do a karaoke song. Well, we have great partners here in London. We have a creative agency called the Brooklyn Brothers, also a local ad agency in Iceland called Íslenska. they come up with brilliant ideas. What we did, this brainstorm over many ideas, but we saw this idea and said, oh, this is such a fun idea, we just have to do it. You know, and it's sometimes you just have to go out of your comfort zone and do something, you know, crazy enough, and hopefully you'll succeed in what you try to do.
Thank you very much, Dennis.
Thank you.
Thank you. Right, next up, on a not dissimilar theme and not a dissimilar part of the world, we've got Levi from the Faroe Islands to talk about his Translate project. Thank you, Levi.
Yeah, so my job is to come after that and try and get that song out of your head now. So that's, thank you, Daddy, for being. So the objective of the Faroe Islands and our campaign is first of all, many people don't even know that we exist. So the first criteria to try and get people to come to our country is to just let them know that we're actually up in the North Atlantic. So as opposed to many of the other countries that work with specific campaigns, we just want to raise awareness about that we exist. So we're still at that stage, and this campaign feeds into that as well. So I'm going to start off with a video and which explains the campaign. Oh, how do I turn the video on? There we go.
A tiny country in the middle of the North Atlantic Ocean. It is estimated that fewer than 80,000 people on Earth can speak their language. Last year, the Faroese wanted their country to be part of Google Street View. They made their own version, powered by sheep, Google Sheep View. The sheep became media stars and made the islands famous all over the world. Now, tourists have opened their eyes to the destination and want to learn a bit of the local language. But Faroese is not part of Google Translate. So this year, the Faroese have created Faroe Islands Translate, powered by Faroese volunteers. Tourists write and a random Faroese volunteer will translate.
Välkommen till Faroe Islands Translate.
It is free to use and anyone can learn that a waterfall is a fossur, that a hike is a gongotur, that sea stacks are called drenkar, and that kvítanur means sheep testicles in Faroese. The initiative helps protect the Faroese language in a world where a small language goes silent every 14 days. The videos are saved in a database that grows with every translation they make, and anyone can try at faroeislandstranslate.com.
Okay, so as the video says, we worked with Google last year, and now I'm pleased to say that Google, the Faroe Islands are now on Google Street View as of last week. So we were really happy with that. Thank you. But back to the Faroe Islands Translate campaign. It continues to work with the sort of Google idea, and it's been running for about 5 weeks now. We started at the beginning of October. Social media played a really key part in sort of spreading the word about the campaign. We posted short videos and photos on our Instagram account and got great engagement there from people. We've posted on our Twitter account as well and started seeing a response from people all around the world. We also posted on our Facebook page, and we posted 4 posts in the first week, and within the first week our videos had over 1 million views and were liked 15,000 times and shared, I think, 2,000 times, something like that. We also sent this press release to media publications all around the world, and especially, obviously, to our specific markets, our main markets that we work on. And it was picked up by some of the most prominent media in the world. We also started receiving many different people from all around the world would come onto the Faroe Islands Translate website, and they would write a word or a sentence, press translate, and they would get videos like that. That's another video. Can you press play, please? So a random Faroese would answer that. The same there is also. So they get replies like that. We worked with our national airline, Atlantic Airways, and you could write you could have the video translation sent to your email by writing your email address in there, and simultaneously you would sign up to their newsletter, to Atlantic Airways' newsletter. So that was a way of them sort of getting in touch with people. Faroe Islands Translate campaign has been running, like I said, for about 5 weeks, and it's still running. And we've had 1.4 million people or times that people have written into the search box. So 1.4 million different search requests from 175 different countries. And PR value is always something that's very difficult to measure, and there's different opinions about that. But we've had someone come in and estimate that the PR value from the campaign so far has been 34 million euros. This has also added more traffic to our website. We've had an increase. If you take the time from the 4th of October to the beginning of November last year and compare that to the 4th of October to the beginning of November this year, we've had an increase of 98% user traffic to our website. The project budget, 215,000 euro, and our media budget for traditional media was 0. Facebook is different, obviously, because everyone knows you have to spend money on Facebook. So we did spend between 10,000 to 12,000 euros on Facebook boosting, but not on any other channels. And I'm very pleased to say also that we are in dialogue with Google about incorporating the Faroese language on Google Translate. Very early stages, but we're hoping that will bear fruit as well.
Very much, Levi. Stunning photography, may I say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jen, please.
Yeah, I guess my first question is, did you run into problems with Faroe Island Translates with Google with the campaign at first in terms of legal, and they said we own the whole world, including those words?
Yeah, I mean, before we started the campaign or afterwards? No, so before the campaign, we tried to get in touch with Google. It's not always that easy to get in touch with them because who's the right person to talk to, and so we didn't really hear from them. We didn't really, we tried to get the Faroese language on Google Translate. Nothing was happening. A bit like Street View, like last year. It's not an easy process to send applications. So instead of doing that, we just made it a creative idea, and a year later we're on Street View, and fingers crossed the same will happen with Translate.
Okay.
How did you find the locals to translate?
How did we find them?
Yeah.
So we started off by, obviously, when the campaign started, it was very important that somebody was there, somebody was on. So we went out and sourced a few locals that wanted to help us. So that was the beginning. So we knew that when the campaign started, then we had people that were ready to translate. We also sent out press releases within the Faroese media asking people to become a part of it, so that anyone could go on our website and see information about how they could become a part of it as well. So they could see a link, they would log in, and then they could see the list of words and sentences and they could translate as well.
Right, so who's your primary target audience with the campaign, and in the last month, how have you seen your choice of channels translate in terms of those increased web visitors?
Yeah, so like I started off by saying, we do have some target segments and markets, but we're still at a stage where it's very much about raising awareness about the Faroe Islands as a whole. So we also want people from markets that are not our primary markets to also hear about the Faroe Islands. So it's very much raising awareness that we actually exist. So this campaign is a part of that. Yeah. Did that answer your question? Did you have a second one?
Yeah, I just wondered what you'd seen in terms of the change of the type of web traffic visitor that you'd got with that huge increase you've seen in the last.
Yeah, I mean, I think so far we've seen that our main markets are still the markets that have seen an increase in markets. So we still see that, and we can see that from our website. Yeah.
And you?
I'm interested to know, in the tourist board world, who are your biggest rivals? Do you have like a rivalry with Iceland? Do you have,
very much so,
is it
yeah.
Scandinavia? Is it Shetland and Orkney Islands? Like, who are you trying to take tourists away from?
Yeah. I think Iceland, I mean, the countries around us sort of demographically are obviously, I would say, our biggest competitors. And the countries that have sort of similar things to offer them the same as we do. So places like Norway and Iceland and the other Nordic countries are places that can offer something that's quite similar, but yet very different, because like you've seen, we have very different languages, and our cultures are actually very different.
Sure.
Yeah, which you could see that, could you? Yeah, you understood that. So yeah, I would say that the countries closest to us are definitely that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much for your time. Levi, the Faroe Islands. Oh, a bit of a whoop at the back there. Right, your wife's in the audience. Moving on, last but not least, is Jay Hopkins of Exodus, the tour operator. I apologise for the increasing volume outside, Jay, so speak up, rattle through and impress us all, please.
No problem, thank you very much. I've got a bit more traditional campaign. It's using social media as a platform, but with a slightly more traditional, we're going to have to buy some of this approach. So, if I just talk about the fact that Exodus has lots and lots of itineraries. We do adventure travel all over the world, walking, cycling. About 36,000 travellers came with us this year, and most of those are from the UK. We know our customers really, really well, so we know exactly the target market that we're going for. Almost half are solo travellers, the average age is around 53, and they're ABC ones. And Facebook obviously allows us to target those people really tightly. But what we wanted to know is what should we be telling them. So this is my chatting to my mates in the pub insight. When I started telling my friends why they should go on Exodus trips and why it was wonderful, the job that I had, I realised that what I was really talking about was how fabulous our leaders are. They're amazing. Our leaders are the difference between being in a country and getting under the skin of it. There are various other little bits and pieces that we wanted to make sure we got in. But really I realised that what I needed to do was buy everyone who looks like they should buy an Exodus trip a glass of wine and chat to them for a bit. And then they would. Eventually I could convince them with my kind of 98 and 97% of our customers would recommend us, and it's just not easy. It's not hard. We'll make it easy for you. But that was going to be quite bad for my liver. So we decided that we'd use Facebook, which is where people are chatting to their mates, and see if we could talk to them there. So the insight was all about those leaders, and we made some lovely videos of our leaders. Here's one of them.
When the snow comes, that's when I'm truly at home. It has been said, as Finns usually ski before we can walk, but for me, my love for winter runs deeper. It's that connection with nature, that feeling of pure freedom. In Finnish we have this saying, tietä käyden olet vanki, vapaa on vain umpihanki, which means that when you stick to the trail, you're not truly free. You're only free when you're making your own path. I am so lucky to call this my job, and being able to share my passion with people is the best feeling. I am Henri Suopanki, an Exodus leader. Come and join me in Oulangan National Park in Finland, and I'll show you my world.
Bit of Finnish as well for you there. So that was our wonderful, beautiful scenery. It always makes me very glad to be a marketing director of an adventure travel company rather than dog poo bags. Very lucky, good place to start, isn't it? And then Facebook launched this Canvas idea, and essentially it's a way of making a little microsite on Facebook. You probably all know it. Your screen on a phone turns essentially into a little canvas, and they said it's built for bringing brands to life. So we thought, let's see if we can do the whole funnel on Facebook. We know our type of customers are on Facebook. Let's see if we can do the whole funnel, actually brand awareness, engagement, and that retargeting, awareness, dreaming, planning, and let's get them to book. So we made this, that's the sort of design that you have. You'll have seen it on a canvas, a Facebook canvas, and people move around using both the moving of the phone and the sort of scrolling with their fingers. And this is a little video of how it's used. I'll click on because we're running out of time, but I love stats. And look at these stats. 200,000 people engaged with our ads. Lots went on to purchase, and you've got to bear in mind that only about half of our customers purchase online. The other half, more than half, about 65%, phone up and book, and we couldn't directly link those back. So this is under-reporting, and we got more than a 4,000% ROI for what we spent on Facebook. That's a result in my book. Some extras. More people ordered brochures and downloaded brochures too. There are lots and lots of additional benefits, but there's not many campaigns to do with social where you can end up saying that's not PR value, 4,000% ROI of bookings and profit, not just revenue, profit. That's me.
Good,
thank you.
Thanks, Jay, for being concise. A lot of stats there to absorb, but they look very impressive. Who would like to ask a question first? Please.
I think they're fantastic results, and it really shows what you can do, even in sort of one channel with some very small pieces of creative. Is it something that, looking at those results, you would expand and you would build upon that in future campaigns?
Yeah, definitely. So January and February are our key booking campaign period, and in the past it wasn't where we would have put lots of concentration on social, because we use social to inspire, so pre-booking. But now we've realised we can actually get people to last click book by retargeting them on Facebook, and so this January and February definitely will be investing again.
Thank you.
When you're creating the canvases and as you say, the full funnel on Facebook, how much testing do you do, and what are you testing if you are doing that?
So the majority of the testing we did was about seeing what does work organically. I can't remember, was it Levy who said, or someone said, Klaus said, you don't get much organically on Facebook anymore. They've tied it in a knot so that you have to invest a bit to get anything. But we put all those videos and imagery and stories that we used in the canvases on Facebook previously, and watched what happened organically and which ones worked really well. And then we created some with those pieces of content, uploaded them, and optimized for the ones that were working best against a very targeted audience.
Smart.
Yeah.
I really liked the pinpointing of leaders as something that people really liked, those who had gone to Exodus. Was there any concern about creating content, spending the money on creating these videos with particular leaders, and then you quit working with those leaders and you can't use that content anymore?
No, we're very lucky. Our leaders are amazing. They've all done Exodus training all around the world. So we tend to use local leaders. We try and keep the money in the country, use local hotels, food, everything. We try and keep it local where we can. And we tend to have brilliant retention rates with our leaders. But I went on a trip with a leader 3 weeks ago in Spain, who is off to become a civil servant. But I know he'll always be an Exodus advocate. He loves us and he was amazing. So I'm very happy still to have him on our campaign.
It's an interesting choice of channel on Facebook. I noticed that your demographic is older female solo travelers. How did you pick Facebook?
They're on Facebook. That's where they are. Interestingly, they're not generators of content. They don't tend to create huge amounts, but they're there stalking, and they do lots of liking. They'll engage in a small way, and we've just done lots and lots of research over the years, and we know that that's the channel, the social media channel of choice for our customers.
Jay Hopkins, Marketing Director of Exodus Travels. Thank you very much. Okay. There are 5 fantastic presentations there. I find it very difficult to choose between each, but I'm going to send these 4 good people off around the corner to have a debate amongst themselves. So they're going to score each one individually, 5 rated at the top, 1 rated not the worst, because that's impossible to say worst, because they're brilliant campaigns, each of them. So I'm going to send you off, please. Off you go, judges. In the meantime, I'm going to ask you to help me with the voting. So we're going to have a public vote amongst yourselves. So I'd like you on your phones to log on to Slido, slido.com. And if you follow the instructions from there and have hashtag WTMLDN, you'll be able to vote once, I believe. and you'll be able to take part in the live voting, which will then go together with the judges' marks. I think each of the 5 were exceptional. What struck me was humour, creativity from the Northern Europeans, the brilliantly executed campaign from Exodus, the brand awareness from Peru really struck home, and the use of influencers with Austria as a really good long-term project. I think each of them had strengths in different ways, but each of you have to decide which is the most effective, impressive results, and what struck you personally as a project that you think is worthy to win. So, scores coming in. I've no idea how many, that 44 people, it looks as though have voted so far, 46. There's far more than that in the room, so I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to consider, if you haven't already decided what you'd like. Each of those 5, think about them in their own right, not who came last or first, who had the best video. But I do think images and video play such a strong part in having an immediate consumer impact. But does it convert to results, as it obviously does with Exodus? 63 votes in, and clearly we can see there is a bit of a tussle. At the top, I'm going to ask the judges if they can hear me to come back as soon as you can. I am aware we're running a little bit over. And we'll put together your scores with theirs and see what we come up with. People are still voting, obviously, 76, 78 of you. So please get your votes in. I'll give you another minute to think about it or to find your phone, and we'll take it from there. Judges, how are we doing? Judges, can you hear me? I hope so. Bear with me just a second. I'll go. We have 84 people who have voted. I'm going to give it... Anybody who hasn't voted yet, who wants to? Who's out there? All in? Are we all in? Okay, we're going to cap that off now. 88 people have voted. According to them, Iceland's the hardest karaoke song in the world, which was huge consumer appeal. I can see that. It's top of your vote, followed by the Faroe Islands, Suitcases of Peru, Austria, and Exodus joint 4th. Everybody got some votes for each of their projects, so I'm pleased to see. And I will now take the marks from my glamorous assistant, Benji, who's added them all up for me.
I haven't actually added them all up.
He's going to add them all up for me now. Then hand me the piece of paper. A trophy will, of course, go to the winner. And also I have a very expensive bottle of champagne. And Benji, hand me the results, please. Okay. Interesting. Can we just get the results back on from Slido, from the public vote, so we can refresh ourselves with that? Okay. Well, in joint 4th place overall, this is taking in the 4 judges' marks and your own marks. In joint 4th place is what the matched your own voting, Austria and Exodus, with 11. In 3rd place is Suitcases of Peru. That's your vote and the judges' vote. And the winner, according to our 4 judges and to you, the audience, is not Iceland, but the Faroe Islands. So please, Levi, come up to the stage. You've won by 1 vote. You've beaten your big rival, the Iceland board, and I'd like to have a few words to your fans.
Well, thank you very much, first of all. That was very nice of you. I think all the campaigns were absolutely amazing, so well done to the rest of the participants. Yeah, it's been great. There's one thing I can say is come and visit the Faroe Islands. It's as simple as that.
Very good. Thank you, Levi. That's the 3rd year of this competition. 2 years ago it was won by Iceland. Last year it was run by Finland. This year it's been won by the Faroe Islands. You can see a bit of a pattern there. Creativity and humour, I would say. And I invite you all to come back next year and see who's done the best social media project 2018. Thanks for your time, and thanks to the panellists.